Hola, hola, ¿cómo están amigos? Es la profesora Jessica and today we are working on módulo 1, lección 01.07, ¿Quién eres? So Spanish 1 lesson 01.07, ¿Quién eres? Who are you? Okay, so as we begin this new lesson, ¿Quién eres? I want to remind you all that you have access to a note guide and it is provided to you. If you are on the Canvas learning page, it is the page before this video. So you can print that out or save it, have it ready, have it in front of you, ready to take notes as we go through this video together. This lesson has a total of 10 slides. Some of them are practice activities. So also you have lesson slides. They should be available to you below right after this video, where you can test your skills, your comprehension, your listening, your writing, and double check that what you're learning and acquiring in this video, you're also taking with you. So remember that you do have that available to you. Now, if you remember that we do have our narrator, Caleb, who's showing us around, teaching us in Español, and this section is called Conociéndote, meaning getting to know you. Caleb here wants to practice his Spanish. So mira el video, watch the video to see how it goes for him. This is a fictional conversation, so this video is for practicing purposes only. We discourage visiting any websites without guardian supervision. Good to know. So here we are with Caleb's vlog.
Hola,
Hola, mi nombre es Caleb. ¿Cómo te llamas?
me llamo Emma. ¿Cómo estás?
Yo estoy bien. ¿Y tú?
Yo estoy bien, gracias. ¿Cómo eres, Caleb?
Yo soy alto, tengo el pelo negro y tengo los ojos marrones. Soy amable y creativo. And you? I mean, ¿y tú?
Yo soy baja, soy pelirroja y tengo los ojos verdes.
Pelirroja. ¿De dónde eres?
Soy de Perú, but my grandparents were from Ireland.
You speak English.
Sí, hablo inglés.
Awesome. Tell me more about yourself.
Yo soy tranquila, sincera y paciente. Mi cumpleaños es el 25 de mayo. My 15th birthday, mi quinceañera. Es una fiesta muy grande. Dancing, música, a huge cake, and a princess dress.
Mucho gusto, Emma, y feliz cumpleaños. Listen, it's dinner time over here y tengo hambre. I've got to go, but maybe we can practice again later.
Por supuesto. Of course, Caleb.
Gracias. Talk to you luego.
All right, amigos, so here we learned about Caleb and his new friend and what they are like. Remember also that at any point in this video, you're welcome to pause it, rewind it, play it slower, whatever it is you need to do. So let's see if we understood a little bit of self-check with Caleb and his new friend. Question número uno, what is yo hablo? Yo hablo, any thoughts? It's an app Caleb is using connecting to Spanish speakers. Actually, I didn't catch that, so that's interesting. How did Caleb describe himself? Ah, interesante. Feel free to pause here and rewind to find out. Okay, he is tall. If you remember, he said, soy alto. He has black hair, tengo pelo negro, and brown eyes, tengo los ojos marrones. And how did Emma is his friend, how did she describe herself? Do you remember? Emma described herself as short, baja, red-haired, pelirroja, green-eyed girl, so tengo los ojos verdes, who is calm, tranquila, sincera y paciente, sincere and patient. And do you remember where she is from? Some of those characteristics were very unique that kind of threw Caleb aside. And she is from Peru, but she has family from Irlanda. She is Irish family. So interesting combination. And here it assumes, I bet you understood this video a little better now. Did you notice some words that look similar? Keep them in mind through the lesson because they will be helpful clues. There are a lot of cognates, so make sure you're listening for those words that are similar to Spanish in English. All right, again, remember you do have access to all of these slides where you can play around with the tools, objectives, you can dig deeper into them. But using the link above called Flex Point. That's where it'll take you to these slides. ¿Cómo eres? How are you? Now, this how are you is not necessarily how are you as in how are you feeling, but how are you as in like, what are you like? How are you as a person? So today you finally get your driver's license. You've been anxiously awaiting this milestone and your parents cannot wait for you to start driving your younger siblings around. But first you need to fill out a few forms. But the only forms left are in Spanish. No worries, you've got this. But be careful, the license form is asking, ¿Cómo eres? What are you like? Be sure to use ¿Cómo eres? To describe personality or characteristics. So to describe you're tall, be sure to write yo soy alto. Eres, what are you like? Eres alto? Are you tall? So be sure to use como eres to describe. Oh, I think I just reread that. But be sure to fill out the form fast. Your little sister is ready for the zoo and ella es impaciente. So she is impatient. Vamos a practicar. So you'll have the opportunity to become a word explorer. You will practice and learn your vocabulary at the same time. So good luck, explorer. Select the symbol to see the word or phrase. We're going to listen to the audio and practice by recording ourselves, or you can listen to yourself, rewind it, play it, say it with the speaker, anything to help you moving your lips, practicing that Spanish and those sounds. So here we go. Here we have
alto, alta,
tall. Notice the difference between alto and alta if we remember. If you identify as a male, you would put an O at the end. But if you're a female, you put an A at the end. So I, for example, yo soy alta, although I'm not tall, so I would no soy alta.
Grande.
Grande is unique because it does not end in an O or an A. It's grande with an E. So this we would consider gender neutral. Doesn't matter if you're female or male. You don't need to change it to match the gender in this situation.
pequeño,
Pequeño or pequeña.
bonito, bonita, bajo, baja,
It's funny, I'm not so sure that these words necessarily coincide with the animals they're trying to represent on all of these features, but nonetheless, kind of fun. Interesting new words. We have alto, grande, pequeño, bonito, and bajo. And if they were female, it would be alta, grande, pequeña, bonita, and baja. Atención! What did you notice about the animals' descriptions? Some adjectives in Spanish end differently depending on the gender of the noun. So this is what we just talked about. Words have gender. Yes. So not just people, but words. Every word in Spanish, some words, like nouns, are either masculine or feminine. And the words are either male or female, and it's really funny. It is really funny. It's really strange. And unfortunately, I don't really have a great answer to how do you know. Sometimes there's clues. When words end in an A, it kind of implies that it's a feminine word. It's not female, but it's a feminine word. And but sometimes it's not as obvious, and it just takes practice, memorization, and the more you listen to it, the more you hear it, the more it becomes obvious. So here it does say normally, there are exceptions to this rule. When a noun ends in an O, it is a masculine word. So, for example, the word el objetivo ends in an O. And most of the time, when the noun ends in an A, it is feminine. So, el objetivo will also end in A. Here are some examples. Oh, I don't know if that part makes sense, but el mono is bajo. So here the noun is el mono, it's the animal, it happens to be a masculine word, is bajo. Whereas la cebra is bonita. Now, interesting, it doesn't matter necessarily if the zebra is a male or female. The word zebra is a feminine word. So when we describe it, we say eres bonita. So interesting, but what if an adjective ends in an E or a consonant, consonante? This simply means that you can use it with any type of noun, masculino o femenino. Sounds like un plan excelente, right? So the word grande, if you were to say la cebra es grande, that's fine. The zebra is big. El mono es grande, totally fine. You do not need to change grande. All right, amigos, so we have this practice here, and this will be in your lesson activities, the slides below. So refer to those for comprehension. También se dice. So Spanish is a language used around the world, so the way Spanish is spoken will vary from country to country and even from region to region. We will use this también section, también se dice, to highlight variations in vocabulary, usage, or pronunciation. So let's just take a look at some of these examples. Vocabulary word for el flamenco is an international word, but it's also called el flamingo. So el flamenco or el flamingo. Bonito or bonita is kind of a word to say pretty or international or beautiful, but there are other words that are used for that as well. For example, internationally, you can also refer to the word guapo or guapa to say good looking as in handsome, attractive, or lindo and linda used in the Caribbean to say like lovely, it's pretty. So describing someone as beautiful or good looking. So lots of different words used around the world. All right, so ¿de qué color es tu pelo? What color is your hair? We're going to select symbols and take a look at this vocabulary. Here we have el pelo castaño. There's that N with a tilde. Remember, it makes a ñ sound like lasagna, castaño. El pelo castaño.
El pelo castaño.
An example here, Alicia, tú tienes el pelo castaño. So even though it's Alicia that has brown hair, the word hair, el pelo, is masculine. So we have to match the word castaño, which refers to like brunette, with the masculine word, el pelo.
El pelo rubio.
Yo soy Carmen. Yo tengo el pelo rubio. Again, el pelo is a masculine word, so the word rubio for blonde needs to match it.
Pelirrojo, pelirroja.
Pelirrojo, pelirroja is interesting because here it does not necessarily say red hair, but this is referred to as redhead, right? So she is a redhead. So here, in this case, Señora Pizarro is a female, and this is an adjective to describe her as being a redhead and not just simply the color of her hair. This is a different form of characteristic, of adjective, shall we say. So that's why we do change the end of this word. Pelirroja, she is a redhead. If you were to say she has red hair, then it would be el pelo rojo. Slightly different there. Just like if you were to describe her as a blonde, you could say ella es rubia. But in this case, if you're describing simply just her hair, el pelo rubio. Let me know if you have more questions about that. Okay, so ponte las pilas. Help Antonio complete his Spanish work. Select the expression that best applies to the situation. Practice as many times as you need. This practice assignment activities are down below in the lesson slides, so make sure you use those to review your comprehension. También se dice. So what about this word? Ser pelirrojo or ser pelirroja is used internationally. I know we drew attention to that before. But you could also use tener el pelo rojo, to have brown, red hair. So to be a redhead or to have brown hair, red hair, either one works. All right, so ¿de qué color son tus ojos? Not just pelo, pelo for hair, but ojos for eyes. A good way to remember the word for ojos is think of this here. Two eyes are the O's, and then the nose is the J. So sometimes that could be a little clue to remembering. And then think of the S as the ear. Here we go. So we have O, the eye, big nose. Another eye, ojos. And here's the ear. All right, so ojos, and this is a masculine word. And what does that mean about the color when you use to describe them? It means it must also be masculine. But pay attention here, because here we don't just have one eye we're describing, or like hair is just a singular item, a singular noun. Here we have two. So ojos makes it plural. Watch how this changes the color or the way that it ends, because it does not just need to match in gender, but it also needs to match in the number. So let's pay attention. Let's try this together. All right, so we're going to take a look at these guys. We have this young boy here, los ojos verdes.
Los ojos verdes.
The sample says, mi nombre es Enrique y yo tengo el pelo rubio y los ojos verdes. Notice that S, they all have S's. Los ojos verdes, green eyes.
Los ojos marrones.
Again, there's the S's. Los because there's more than one. Ojos marrones. Yo soy el señor Gutiérrez, tengo el pelo castaño y los ojos marrones. Interesting because here isn't a word that normally just ends in an N, a consonant. And in order to make it match in plurality, this would be gender neutral, but we plug an E in there. When it ends in a consonant and you want to make it plural, you have to squeeze an E in there.
Los ojos azules.
Hola, yo soy Luis Reinaldo y tengo los ojos azules. Same situation here. Azul is a consonant. So normally it's gender neutral, but when you make it plural, more than one, you need to squeeze an E in there. All right. Let me know if you have more questions about this. Happy to meet with your teacher. We're happy to help you with it. So here we have some colors. We have verde, los ojos verdes, marrón, los ojos marrones, azul, los ojos azules. So marrón, verde, and azul do represent los colores, the color of los ojos. There may be more colors than that. You see them in the introduction in plural form because we're talking about dos ojos. So ponte las pilas. How would the teens below describe their eyes? We're going to match descriptions to the eye color. There'll be some examples of this in the content slides, but here's an example. Tengo los ojos marrones. What would he do? Take a look at his eyes. Tengo means I have. I have. Which would he choose? Tengo los ojos azules. And she, I don't know if you can tell, but they're right there. Tengo los ojos verdes. Ahora te toca a ti. So now that you've gone through a lot of this vocabulary, there is a checkpoint to practice your comprehension. Use the slides below, the activities, the questions to review your comprehension. Remember, you can pause this video, rewind it, play it, add subtitles, whatever it is you need to support you through this learning. So here we have los cognados, lots of cognates. Have you ever seen un gorila, un tigre, or un canguro at the zoo? These words, borrowed from English, are cognates because they look similar to English and Spanish. Sometimes cognados look exactly the same, like un jaguar. Check out the list below to identify how many words you already know in Spanish. So here are some additional vocabulary terms, but don't worry, they are cognates, which are words that are shared similar meanings in both Spanish and English. So be sure to know these cognates along with your new vocabulary. Things like cómico, funny, think of comical. Cómica, artístico, artística, músico, música, estudiante. Lots of similarities there. Curioso, curiosa, sociable. Notice here sociable. This does not end in an O or an A. So because it's an E, you can use it for masculine or feminine. Atlético, atlética, extraordinario, extraordinaria. Here, on the other hand, are some cognados, falsos, so be careful. These mean that the words look similar in both lenguajes, both languages, but the meanings are different. So here are some examples of the false cognates. La carpeta, for example, means folder. It does not mean carpet. Embarazada does not mean embarrassed. It actually means pregnant. So do be careful on that one. If you wanted to say you're embarrassed, don't tell somebody you're embarazada. El éxito is success and not exit. El pie, notice the pronunciation of this word. Pie is not pie, it's foot. La ropa is clothes and not a rope. And la sopa stands for soap and not soup. Or soup and not soap, yes. So advice, they say avoid embarrassment. Double check the meaning before you use the word just in case. But I will say, as you can tell from the difference in lists, there are sometimes more cognates and there are false cognates. So if you have a strong instinct, don't tell anybody I told you, but usually it can be pretty accurate. All right, ponte las pilas. Here's another assignment, activities. Check the activities below in the slides to practice for your comprehension. Or you will see those in our live class. All right, escucha. Some more practice, and in these ones, what do we learn? Expressions and words that apply to different situations. So where people live, locations, we've learned about this before, ways that people describe themselves. This is more practice that you can use the slides below after we are done with this movie or this video and to review. Meanwhile, let's wrap up these lessons and fly to Guatemala. What is in Guatemala? Part 1. There are 2 parts to this assessment for this 1.07 module. The first part is a quiz. So you will take 01.07 Quién eres quiz to check for your comprehension. Remember, again, the slides below are a great quiz, trivia, little activities to help for your comprehension, to expand your learning and use vocabulary to practice the retention before you take on to the quiz. Lots of ways to help develop these skills. And the second part is a voice recording. So refer to the assignment with a voice recording for the instructions, and that will make you ready for this lesson. All right, amigos, I wish you mucha suerte. Good luck with this lesson, this quiz, and this voice activity. Let your teacher know if you have any questions. Buena suerte y adiós.